glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Canada Day weekend here in Toronto, Ontario. One day early is when we're going to start the fireworks. It's the Centurions and the Wolfpack. And these two teams, we've talked about it all afternoon long. They've been tight all season. I mean, the start for the Centurions to the year wasn't what they wanted, but they're looking for a little bit of revenge, Brian, and we're expecting some hot play right off the start.
They're a bit like the heavyweight that's come off the canvas. They're ready to rumble again.
They were only down for the 8 count?
Yeah, they were down for the 8 count. Nobody put them away, and they're back in the mix, they're back in the game, and big challenge for both teams today.
This one, fans rather from Leigh traveling very well as well over in the supporter section as they kick off. Toronto picks it up just in front of their own end, and a quick juke right there, but dragged down for the first tackle.
Yeah, Ryan Briley was looking for a willing runner there, didn't have it, but finds it in Lussick on the second play. So not usual that Briley would carry the ball into the line, but as with all players here, if you run down, you got to run.
And it looks like a strong front line so far from Leigh. Toronto not getting a whole lot. It's 3 tackles already in the early on.
Yeah, their whole ambition here, Leigh, is to restrict territory from the Toronto team, so restrict the amount of meters that they make from each carry. But here we see Bezic jumping out of dummy half and reaching the halfway line on play 5, so kick to come.
And they'll send that deep, that off the foot of Brierly, and it's taken all the way just under the uprights and run out here. Quick pitch off to the side. That was Jack Owens who received and then dragged down quickly.
Well, 2 expansive teams as well, Brian. So don't be surprised if both teams trying to shift the ball left to right to try and find some space and some opportunities. It was a great kick from Brierly there to start. Well received from Jack Owens, and now Leigh showing their prowess in carrying the ball forward.
Quick moves right here from Leigh. A couple of quick pitches as they're brought down right around half. And they'll go for it again, trying to get it out wide. And then 2, 3, Liam Kay's in there. Maybe 4 members of the Wolfpack trying to come away with it. Maybe trying to strip the ball in the process, but holding on was Bodie and Thompson. Kick will bounce deep in Toronto.
There's Russell in the backfield trying to make yards, and beats the first man, beats the second. It was a good kick from Reynolds, so both teams swapping kicks, and Reynolds finding some space with a bounce, which made it more difficult to collect for Russell.
And then another big hit right there. It looked like Patterson was a little slow to get to his feet and just sort of jogging back into the play.
Yeah, they're certainly not going to miss each other today, so they'll be wearing a tackle. Hold on too long, there's Thompson, and adjudicator held on too long in the tackle, so an early penalty. And again, penalties and controlling the ball are going to play a huge part in today's. We've mentioned the heat. I'm sure our viewers now recognise that it's hot, so controlling this football is massively important.
And Patterson brought down there, maybe a little bit of the extra hold. He's a former member of the Centurions. Does he have any bad blood maybe with his former club?
Might have been playing cards with somebody and forgot to pay the debt. I don't know, that might be the issue.
Toronto takes over here on the opposite side, and a big rumble. Running into a wall was Lussick. As he'll hand off now, Beswick pitches it over, and then one sidestep, and then trying to slide through was Worthington.
It's a good lead up play from the Wolfpack.
And the Wolfpack go back to work again, looking for a little bit of speed, trying to break through, and nearly finding a hole was O'Brien, who has taken over the kicking duties in recent weeks here. So Toronto keeping the pressure up in the Leigh end. Just trying to make their way through here. Another quick pitch back, quick to the outside, and just a couple of steps ahead. Not able to run into it.
Well, that's a missed opportunity. They stripped them for numbers at the Wolfpack. It's probably a 4-on-2, and I think Brierly tries to go over the top and doesn't connect, basically. The created the opportunity there and just couldn't quite execute the last play, so it's thrown into touch, so Leigh get the chance to ruck the ball out of their own half again.
Leigh getting a big turnover there as that sideline, that side looked to be open on the far.
It's a great call, Brian. It was open, and this kind of weather, you've got to execute your plays.
Leigh hemmed into their own end, and the big body right there of Lussick dragging down. In on that as well, looked like Blake Wallace.
It was a big tackle on Hansen, who's a big boy himself. He's one of their iconic warriors, and he won't like being manhandled like that. Watch him try and seek a little bit of retribution. Here's Hutchinson with a kick, back off the head of Whiting.
And then going up and trying to come down with it, looked like Krasniqi, he couldn't get it. And that was a liner just right off of his chest.
Well, they got an element of luck there, did Leigh. The ball ricocheted clearly. Now there's a penalty for Leigh, so a little bit of luck, 6 more plays, keeping the ball in control, and now a penalty which he'll kick out to the sideline. It's a good start from Leigh.
And one of the things, you said it right away, was that it's about ball control, and it just seems like right now there's not a whole lot of wide open space for either team. They've got to deal with a lot of quick tackles, not a lot of room.
Now both defences will be getting stuck into each other, and it's more often than not, sometimes you can wilt in this heat, so you've got to manage your energy, you've got to make your tackles count and be efficient and not give too many penalties away.
Leigh going to work, trying to push through, but drag down quickly. A little wiggle at the bottom as this one will be given off to Hood. Quick pitch to the outside, too quick right there, but it looks like they're going to lose a bit of ground off that second one as the Wolfpack again swarm to it.
Great line speed. They'll have a look at the short side here, Leigh. Part and parcel of how they play.
Leigh trying to... They're a couple meters away and just forced out on that far side.
Well, just a feature for our viewers, BT, is that if Leigh can see any amount of space down the short side, so near the sideline, they're going to have a pop at that. There were 4 Leigh attackers there, but they were well aware of that, this Wolfpack team, well prepared, and here you go. There's Hutchinson having a shot at the short side, and Whiting's involved, Russell's involved, O'Brien's involved, Briley's involved. Paddle him out onto the sidelines.
So the Wolfpack quickly swarming there, feeling the pressure in their own end. Standing up, forcing them out. And here they go. They'll look for a little bit of space, but Leigh equal to the task as Thompson was there for a quick tackle. Now Toronto looking for a little bit of space, out across, and then rumbling down after a few steps. Toronto picking up the pace here in this heat and is out to Kay. Kay gets his first touch, and he's slippery. He slides his way up just shy of the halfway point, hands it off. Brierley was in on it as well, and now Toronto is into the Leigh end.
Some great exit play there from the Wolfpack. Still a couple of plays left in this set as well. Jake Emmett, and with a penalty, a high tackle adjudicated by Mr. Hugh, the referee. He's feeling that one in Jake Emmett.
Yeah, we've seen it.
He agrees with the ref. Let's have a look. Here's Emmett. Oh, yeah, slips over the top. Kevin Leroy hit on the ball, but then I think he creased his melon on the top. His pumpkin was bruised, so that will hurt. O'Brien to the sidelines for a set play.
And this is a situation we might see, not intentional, but a couple more high tackles just because it's so much warmer out there. Things are a little more slick.
Well, that's the
a
element.
little more sweat.
Well, if you tell your mind that you're tired and you tell your mind that you're real disciplined, you'll be those two things. So the team that doesn't do that and plays, gets on with playing, will come up with the spoils.
Wolfpack pushing through here as Krasniqi was down there. Rolls it back to get a little bit of space, and a dummy there, and then working his way up.
Ryan Briley's had a shot at the line there.
And I think he was brought down just shy of it, so yes, Toronto will go to work again, and they're met by a big blue wall. So they lose ground. As Lussick will make his way back to his feet. And then brought down by the back of the shirt. So Toronto takes another try. As Brierley got it out. And there's a lot of room right here, rumbling through. then you can start the fireworks here for the Wolfpack.
Well, that's a Blake Wallace classic. He's seen a bit of space. He's seen Hansen struggling to get anywhere near him. Watch this. He's going, trust me. Picks out Thompson in the end, beats him, carries Hansen over the line and tries to get in there to make an effort. Here we go. So here's Wallace, having a crack, left foot step. Thompson can't get across to make the play. Neither can Jack Owens, the fullback, try and stop it. That's a super score from Blake Wallace. There you go, he's a running player, and he's running. That's what he does best. Great view from our end on camera. Just couldn't stop him. It was too quick and too strong on the back of some great field position for the Wolfpack.
And that little jab step right there after he took the pitch goes to his left foot, cuts it right back up the middle, creates all that room for him.
I like what you're saying. I've never heard it called a jab step, but I'm going to start using that expression myself because that's what he did. He jabbed off his left foot, he sidestepped, he pierced the line, and a little bit like a boxer, he on the chin of the Leigh Centurions defense.
If I can bring something new to you, that's all I ask.
That's all I ask as well.
Wolfpack set up here for the convert. As it will be Gareth O'Brien. And that one easy for him.
Converted by number 31, Gareth O'Brien.
Well, here's the play again, and that's the strength at the end of it, but he still needed scoring. Got a couple of blokes hanging on to him and found an upper body strength, let alone the foot speed that you talked about there, BT. The foot speed, he's found his left foot jab or left foot step, or whatever you want to call it, and then he's used his upper body to pull that ball through and slam it over the line.
And he just kept the legs turning the whole time too, and I think that's the biggest thing that you've told me is that so long as you can keep that momentum going and keep pushing, good things are going to happen. So as we creep up to the 10-minute mark here in the first half, the Wolfpack have something they've never had against the Centurions in the first half this year, and that's a lead.
Leigh will be reminded of the fact that they came off second best when they had a lead, so I don't think this team's going to go away today. It's a good start from the Wolfpack. It's good work. This boy's been on fire as well. Matty Russell, there he goes again.
And Russell keeping the feet moving, driving his legs all the way out. And now the Wolfpack find a little bit of space again, and they're across the halfway point. Up across midfield, they're going to keep working it in. As Leigh quick to tackle on a nice pitch right there, and they're going to find some room on the far side, cutting it back inside and looking for a little more space before he's dragged down, rolling it back. And the Wolfpack, quick ball movement right here, and they're going to drive it all the way down and just get stopped.
Magnificent entertainment.
Just meters away from scoring.
Here's the kick from Briley.
He's put this through.
Great catch, Ben Crooks. Because he had red shirts lining up to pluck that from the sky. And good offensive kick. Great read from Ben Crooks.
Crooks going for a little bit of a run himself as the Wolfpack poking away at that ball, trying to get it back. After he made that read on that kick. As they work it to the side now. Leigh pushing their way out to half. Thompson in there, a big hit just as he handed it off, and a couple of quick pitches out here to the near side, and then cutting it back in is Crooks, looking for some space, and he's wrestled to the ground immediately. Quick handoffs there, and they try a grubber on the way through, and a fortunate bounce. Quick pitch, picked off by the Wolfpack.
There goes O'Brien.
O'Brien looked like he might have had complete daylight ahead of him and then gets flattened at the end of that one.
Well, that was a try all the way, or should have been.
He decided to cut it back inside.
They bombed that Leigh. Yeah, they blew it, basically. Ricky Bailey was going down the sidelines. Should have passed on the inside. Gareth O'Brien picks him off, and there's just opportunities. There's plenty going both sides here. Matty Russell makes a break, and they can't pick it up. Well, let's have a go at the Leigh missed opportunity. There's Hood. Reynolds finds the kick, finds a deflection, and he picks it up. There's Bailey. All he has to find is his inside man. Gareth O'Brien takes the puck, and he's pitched his pocket. They'll be desperately disappointed about that. The lead, they got a break and couldn't execute the break. O'Brien saved the day in many respects, and then at the other end, Manny Russell makes a break and couldn't find his support. So end-to-end stuff. Few hands on hips. This heat's getting to everybody. A few brains are exploding. This is great rugby league.
Well, I think just waiting for him, it was Liam Hood. He was happy that Gareth O'Brien took that step back in towards midfield because he was just sitting there lining him up, and it went exactly his way.
Certainly did.
Centurions here get a quick start as they give up their first tackle, trying to cut it back through. Powering, keeping the legs going, but the Wolfpack quick to the tackle there.
Yeah, he's a powerful little player, isn't he, Bailey? He carries it well. He's Hutchinson with the shape. Wow. I should have hoped Kyle Lovett. That might be the back rower in him, because he had a winger on his outside that was free there, and Lovett went into the line. And it's good approach play, though, from Leigh, you have to say.
Trying for better luck this time. The grubber last time took a fortunate bounce, but then Toronto able to pick it off and take it down the other way. So Leigh getting into Toronto territory. They're going to try and kick it through once again. There, the Wolfpack, and then brought down very quickly. Again, Gareth O'Brien, but this time when he starts it back the other way, it's a little more gentle, although I don't know if anything's ever gentle in this game.
No. But brutal is probably the better expression. But I have to say that the Reynolds, the Leigh half at the moment, is finding some kicks at the shore. Here's a bit of expansion, and Chase Stanley coming back on the inside, testing this Leigh defence, and here goes Liam Kay, which he's good at. Picks out a lazy defender, retreating defender, and makes another 5 metres. Jesus, smart player.
And how about Liam Kay right there, using the field to his advantage, using his opponent back turn, using him as a blocker almost.
Pretty much a smart assessment there, BT. He's picked out somebody that's not allowed to be involved in the play and use him as a shield. Here's Owens with the Cats. That ball was going everywhere.
High kick just in front of his uprights as he's going to try and start out with it, and he's immediately lassoed down.
Well, we're about 15 minutes into this game, and we're seeing some signs that blue jumpers are struggling to get back on side. You know, the weather taking its toll. This is where you've got to be clinical. You've got to decide to look after the ball. You've got to decide to say, there ain't nothing wrong with our game. We're going to kick down there. We're going to keep turning this team around. The team that does that, I will promise you, will come with the spoils. And a knock on C, and that's the energy. That's the energy battle I was talking about. You get a little bit fatigued. You're not quite got back on side. Liam Hood down in the backfield here thinking, oh, it's Jack Owens, sorry. So it's the fullback Jack Owens now. So they're trying to grab themselves a rest. They make an error because they go into contact not quite as vigorous as they should be. Boy, it's a mind game. You have to play mind games in weather like this, and you just got to ignore it.
Weather-wise, is this something that Leigh would be used to at all? Is this something they'd encounter often, not often, once in a blue moon?
This kind of heat, where it's quite humid as well, is rare, but we're having an unbelievable summer in the UK as well, so you're experiencing temperatures of 28, 29, 30 degrees. Would I say it's this humid and close? Probably not. And so the players will be used to that. They're both very fit teams, these teams, and so they should be used to that. You'll get extra water breaks when it goes over a certain temperature with the official. If there's been stoppages in like that for an injury and there's a scrum and players can take water on, then he won't stop the game. But he has the facility, if both doctors of the clubs have agreed, which is fabulous in rugby league, to facilitate an extra water break if he thinks it's an issue.
Well, we're back in here. Wolfpack have it. And quick there, might have been a little elbow on the part of Greg Worthington.
I think there's a hand in. A hand in, and he's trying to disrupt the play. So let's see if there's an obvious reason. It's a Worthington's carried the ball here, tries to go in. Reynolds all over the player and all over the ball, so that's not allowed. And it's a penalty to the Wolfpack.
Wolfpack bring it in, and a quick handoff to Patterson as he rumbles his way down. Corey Patterson, who's had a great year overall, but even better since the team came back to Toronto. Now a quick handoff, as again in the shadow of the Leigh uprights, Beswick, and it's pitched over to O'Brien, and he is not having a good afternoon.
Well, Ben Crooks is, you have to say, defensively, the reads that he's making on that right edge of the lead defence are big crucial.
Sidlow brought down there, looking for a little bit of space. They're going to go wide with it. One more. A little bit of room to the outside, driving forward.
He got that down.
And if he got it down.
Did he get it down? Did he get it down? That's Chase Stanley all over. Stanley hasn't got to the line. He's flicked the ball out there, and Russell's got to the line. This is a real interesting one. I think it's Chase Stanley. So they got the spread play. Briley goes out the back to O'Brien, who finds Stanley, stutter step, and he's flicked it off to Matty Russell right at the death there, who's picked his line between two defenders. So here's the play. Here's Briley. Here's O'Brien. Chase Stanley attracting two defenders and giving Matty Russell the ability to dive over and plant the ball down for another 4-pointer.
And it was that right there. Matty Russell came out of nowhere.
Well, he's paid to do that kind of thing. I think what you got to know is how clever Chase Stanley was, because he gets on the outside of his particular player, so the opposing defender on the left wing has to think, the wing has to think he's beating the man, and so he comes and he's attracted, and with the flick pass on the inside to Russell, pretty much gives him a clear run in. So smart play from the centre. Stanley on the right side gives Matty Russell an easier score than if he'd had just handed the ball on initially.
Hot weather, how it start here as O'Brien lines things up.
That was going up and up. Boy, he nailed that. Good kick.
And you look at that, all of a sudden the Wolfpack out to a 12-0 lead.
It's basic out of dummy half, attracting defenders. Briley does the same. O'Brien tips it on. He gets on the outside there of Kyle Lovett again and slips the ball on the inside. So Chase Stanley gets to the outside of Kyle Lovett. That's the big money breaking play. And here's the other big money breaking play. After a set of a kickoff, it's important you look after the ball. Big man Adam Sidlow coming into the game.
So the Wolfpack off to the exact start that they wanted here at home in front of their fans. And again, they've had trouble against this Centurions team who maybe didn't get the start to the year that they wanted, but they've always played Toronto tough so far. Third matchup between these two teams is it's dragged out across half.
Sidlow again, his second carry of the set. So the big blokes putting their hands up, looking for some work here.
And he drags it through once again, as then just a short little one here, trying to gain position on it, then coming out to play it.
Nice catch, Owens. A little
Jack
kick
Owens
to the corner there with four red attackers. Riley puts the kick up to give his team the chance to get down there and make those defensive plays, but Jack Owens, you have to say, cleans it up quite well.
Lovett was dragged down quickly, and then Corey Patterson, part of the slew of red jerseys there for the tackle, as Leigh just trying to get across half, and a big hit right there, almost rolling into it.
That was a good carry from Hanson, wasn't it? Rolls out.
Blake Wallace was waiting for him. Leigh trying to get across half. The Wolfpack doing everything they can to keep them from doing it. Brierley over there as well.
Well, that's smart game management. His team is struggling a little bit energy-wise. You can see that in some of the decisions. Hutchinson decides to kick the ball to the sideline so his team can walk to a scrum. But you have to say it's on the back of pretty strong Wolfpack defence as well, restricting territory. So we'll see the great prowess in this Leigh team when they find some field position. The truth of the matter is they haven't at the moment. That's all being controlled by this pretty dominant at this moment in time Toronto team.
And ever since it seems like that play, Gareth O'Brien steps in front of that pitch and takes it the other way, gets it almost out to half. They had that grubber. They almost got the fortunate bounce. Were almost able to take it in for their first try, and it goes the other way, and it doesn't seem like they've been able to get any momentum back since.
Yeah, you're not a bad judge. The ricochet kick was...
That's not what I'm paid to do.
No, well, the ricochet kick came off, and then they handed the ball over to O'Brien, so they got a break there, or a smart read, however you want to make that play from O'Brien, because he was outnumbered. And they're looking after. You have to say that the Wolfpack are looking after the ball as well. What I mean by that is There's no enforced errors. They're getting to the end of their sets, and I promise you, Zagego, that's so crucial in conditions like this.
Just shy of half here as they rumble it up. Sidlow takes it. He's held up. And a little shove at the end there as the Wolfpack try and drive it back in. Quick pitch right here. Patterson taking it. Patterson shrugs. Wow. And he hands it right into the hands of the Centurions. And at least the Wolfpack are there for the quick tackle.
Well, he didn't know it at the time, but that's a try save from Crooks, the intercept there. Patterson had to make that play. That's a millisecond off O'Brien taking the ball and being under the sticks with another score, but Crooks has come up with a few catches and a few timely intercepts that's keeping the league game the league team in the game at the moment.
Going back to work, trying to get past midfield, and Toronto just not giving an inch so far. Solid tackling from the Wolfpack is then driving it up. Baldwinson, as he was taken down quickly. And they'll try a grubber through and then all the way back for it here. Gareth O'Brien takes it up.
Well, Hutchinson was after the same result that he had last time. You have to say that's a pretty vigorous chase from the lead defenders, but this guy is on fire at the moment. Matty Russell, he makes, wow, hits the line hard as anything. He deserves the right to play the ball, which he does, and now here goes Kane. Oh, shot himself in the foot.
Kane catches an edge there as he slides down to the turf.
Fell over, didn't it? Here's Stanley, the backfield there, done a great job. And so what Leigh are facing all the time is when they're coming up with a kick, they're hoping to restrict territory. We see here, we're on play 5 of the Wolfpack of their 6 players, and they're pretty much just short of 10 metres away from the Leigh line. That's pretty dominant.
Continuing to chew up field here, the Wolfpack getting it out wide, looking for a little bit of space, just poking it through, but Leigh right there, and then wrapped up.
Wow.
And forced out.
Brilliant. Chase Stanley. They go to the sideline with Stanley. He puts the ball on the boot. Short kick. Owens has to feel the ball, and he's tackled in goal. It's a drop out from their sticks. And our viewers are not dull. They can see how they're regrouping around the back of their sticks, thinking, boy, this could be a hard second set. Great play, smart play from the Wolfpack. Very clinical.
And this is what you were talking about. Not only were the Wolfpack able to do that in their own end, but all of a sudden they're really keeping Leigh from getting into the Wolfpack's end. They're forcing those long kicks. And then if Leigh keeps pursuing the way that they are, they're going to wear themselves out in this heat.
Well, I can't remember many play the balls from the blue team in Toronto's 10 metre zone into the red zone, whatever you want to call it. That's a fair kick out on the full, so that's a penalty under the sticks. From the drop out, the ball's gone out on the full, so that'll be a penalty to the Wolfpack. Probably will play on here and tap the ball, I would imagine. But you're right, they've had no ball of their own to speak of in relation to finding some pressure and finding some attacking prowess. But that's a reflection of how dominant the Wolfpack have been defensively as well. You've got to bend your backs, you've got to do all the things that they work on in practice, irrespective of the weather conditions.
And a bit of a break here as the players need that hydration. Again, it's the story of the day, and it's sort of funny when you get away from the two teams and you're not talking about them and you're talking about the weather so much, but this is one of those times where it's extreme one way or the other.
This is really smart because it's a minute off the clock. It means there's no water break. Both teams will water up at this as well. There'll be water carriage allowed on the field. It's a goal kick. It takes it to 14 zip, which is 3 scores. So now Leigh are facing, it might not seem a lot in the mind of a lot of people, but against a good team, a dominant team like the Wolfpack, 3 scores is quite a hill to climb. So I think it's really important for Leigh to play a part in this game, is that they score next. So that'll be their ambition, and they're a proud team. They'll come firing back. They'll have their moments in this game.
Well, if the Wolfpack have proven anything, it's that comebacks do happen, because they've done it twice to Leigh, and maybe Leigh's just trying to prime them up to do it right back to them here on home soil. As O'Brien puts it up and through, and things continuing to go the Wolfpack's way early on here, up 14-0.
Yeah,
but that can change if you... I've been impressed with the discipline of the Wolfpack. I I can't remember other than the Patterson play, which was a try-scoring play if it comes off, so you accept that kind of risk and reward. I can't remember them fumbling or making an error.
That was weird. Well, they'll get another opportunity here, as this one is deep, but the Wolfpack bring it out. A lot of space to work with initially, and 3 or 4 Centurions are there to bring the ball carrier down as they'll go to work once again. And now it seems like Toronto is content just to run into the heart of this defense and force Leigh back a couple of steps and just wear them down.
Well, they've been doing that pretty much all the time. Brian, you know, in and around the ruck, that's where the battle of any game is won. If you can find some dominance there. If it hasn't been done by the big blokes, it's been done by Russell and by Kay and by Stanley and by Worthington. It's Wallace again finding Patterson, who's been a willing recipient the whole afternoon. They're moving the ball around, they're testing out different defenders, they get into Reynolds, and there's that game management from Gareth O'Brien as well. Put on his backside there by Bodine Thompson. No ill feeling there. He's allowed to challenge the kicker. What they're doing now, the Wolfpack, is differently to what Leigh were doing. So they're going to water this scrum, and their mission has to be, right, we're going to restrict the territory of this Leigh Centurions team. And the challenge for Leigh Centurions is simple. We've got to find a little bit of impression in this line, in and around the ruck, where they can match the Wolfpack team down the field, but at this moment in time they haven't quite found that formula. But such a good team might, so it's important that both teams still have the element of discipline of thought.
Just over 26 minutes gone here in the first half, 26 and a half, so time winding down as Leigh gets it, works it out in the center of the field. The Wolfpack there quickly though. Quick pitch to the outside, hop step, and then a couple of other side steps, rolling with his momentum for a little bit of extra.
Oh, shot on there, Adam Sidlow. Good footwork, beat him.
And then Greg Richards was brought down quickly as well. Quick pitches over here, a little bit of space, a dummy there, and then stopped up and ran right into Patterson.
They're getting half opportunities, and here's Hood finding the short side, and whoa, forward.
And Kay bit up, and it looked like Ricky Bailey could have been gone there down the sideline.
They just didn't find a pass. Bodine Thompson, it's a little smart Liam Hood to Bodine Thompson, who creates the opportunity. They ties Kay out of the line, and the pass was a metre forward. But if they execute that properly, as they're supposed to, they score. And that's what they're good at, Leigh. So it's important that the Wolfpack concentrate and understand that Hood is always looking to disrupt play in and around the ruck and find an opportunity. Bodine Thompson, class player, just couldn't quite find the pass to Ricky Bailey on the sidelines there.
And you can't say this often, but they caught Liam Kay biting.
Yeah, he had a bite for sure. The rules on that was if you come in, you best make the play. Well, you have the head coach to answer to.
Unfortunately, he won't on this occasion as the Wolfpack fall forward over half.
I think that little play's invigorated the Centurions. I think they're getting a bit further forward in their defensive line, trying to restrict a bit more territory, understanding that to get to the right parts of the field, they're a challenge.
Buchanan in here, throws it to the outside. Blake Wallace with a little bit of room, fakes it, and Blake Wallace all the way, and Toronto is off and running.
Well, there's the jab again, VT. Left foot step, right foot step. He's got the longest kid. He finds a one-on-one. Wow, just beats him and then throws the dummy. And Owens has gone for the dummy, but he's kept hold of the ball. He's gone off his right foot then. And, the defender fell over. I couldn't quite see who the defender was, but he's picked him out. We get an end on shot, we might get the number, but that's all down to Blake Wallace with red shirts pushing around. If he doesn't have the push around him, if he doesn't have people into the line attracting defenders, so his body's in motion. That's what I'm trying to explain to our viewers. Because there's a lot of red shirts in motion, blue shirts have to pay attention to them, which gives Blake Wallace that one-on-one opportunity. The fact that the defender slipped might have helped him as well. We'll probably clean that up after the kick.
So Wallace again striking here as O'Brien lines it up. And he He's certainly had himself a great past couple of weeks here. I think he likes home soil, or at least adopted home soil.
Well, he's had an opportunity in the team, and you had to take him with this squad. To say that it has. Right, let's have a go at these, BT. Let's see. Left foot jab that you talk about. There it is. He beats one. Owens goes for the intercept. Blake Wallace throws it. It's a play before. Here he is. Here he is. There we see. He's just taking his opportunity one-on-one. And he's quick and he's strong in the hips, so if you don't get anywhere near him, he'll take that opportunity. But yep, you have to say he's on fire today, isn't he?
Well, it's not hard with temperatures like this.
Yeah, he's now going to 44. Feels like 54.
That's good. That might be true for Blake Wallace. He's up to 54. Everyone else is just sitting here sweating. As the Wolfpack try and bring it out once again, Buchanan wrapped up, brought down quickly, but another couple of quick pitches. Leigh stepping up though. Bodine Thompson in on that as well. Looks like Greg Richards was down there too.
Yeah, Harrison Hansen, I think it's Bodine Thompson, and hanging on too long in the tackle there is actually Richards and Bodine Thompson. Adjudicate, you can't spend that amount of time in the ruck. Clearly have a dominant side in the red. They're getting quick play of the balls, which is creating opportunities, not in and around the middle, clearly in and around the middle, but on the edges as well. And I'm sure Coach Purtle will have that's the challenge at half-time to...
Patterson runs right into a wall, and he snapped Ben Reynolds back there.
Certainly did.
As the Wolfpack go to work once again. Reynolds was in on that, as was Thompson. Mortimer there too. He was the last man up, and it looked like Thompson was helping him get up so that they wouldn't get penalized once again, as the Wolfpack now have it in scoring distance once again, looking for a little bit of room. Not a lot, but Buchanan is just going to tumble his way down and then try and squirt forward with the ball. And they fake it to the outside, cut back to the middle. Brierly.
It's all on the last play now. Only 6 plays in rugby league. This is the last. Acker's going.
And they're going to try and drive it through. Did he get it down?
I don't think he got there. No.
And nope, just shy of it.
Well, Ackers had a crack in the line. A couple of people. Brierly has a crack in the line. Ackers has a crack in the line. Let's have a look. Goes himself. It's all dummy half. So you see that opportunity. But you have to. Leigh were up to it. Leroy was in the frame there.
And running right into him, Corey Patterson laying the shoulder down, and that's going to bring everybody into the center. Well, I think Corey Patterson saw this one coming right from the set, because he watched this down and he just ran downhill the entire way.
Nice. Good for the fans. A lot of pushing and shoving, but not much action.
Has he given a penalty?
Couple of folk enjoying themselves there.
Well, you got to. It's a long weekend here.
Yeah. It's Canada Day tomorrow. I keep forgetting. Somebody's got 10 minutes in the bin for a shoulder charge. I think it's Corey Patterson.
And Patterson comes off here, so he'll sit for that.
He's coming off because the referee's told him he's gone. Let's have a look why. Let's see if we can see it again. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, he's adjudicated. That was a shoulder charge, and always raises the ankles and the anger. Gets 10 minutes in the bin for his trouble, so down to 12 men. This is now an opportunity for Leigh to show their ways. Water at dummy half.
And they've got about 7 to go here, so Wolfpack will miss Corey Patterson for the rest of this first half. And a big hit right there. Liam Kay looked like he got a hand on it. and he's going to come back and try and make the tackle, but then to wrap him up very quickly was Sam Hopkins. Wallace in there as well.
It's all very exciting that, but Reynolds found the play in the end, and he's finding another one here. He's found outside Mortimer. Leroy has got some space.
He's going to try and bounce it through.
Back to 0 because that touched a Wolfpack hand, so they got 6 plays for the first time in the Wolfpack 20-meter area. See what they got. See what they got to offer.
So the Wolfpack have to stand up here, down a man as well. Patterson off, flipped back out, and they'll rally very quickly there. And
it's a knock on. That's just what Leigh didn't want. It's whether they find themselves in field position. Wow. Let's have a look. So Reynolds makes the play. Smart from Owens, gets the ball over the top to Bailey, and he makes wares and finds some field position. He was touched in the next set of 6 by the Wolfpack player. There's Bailey playing the ball, and there you go, Mortimer. Reynolds with the play out the back to Owens, who frees his winger up, which is what they've been trying to do all this first half, and eventually had the field position there. But the next set of 6, when the Wolfpack had touched it with another opportunity, I think it was Gregson that just dropped the ball cold under the sticks.
And it looked like Ackers came in and swooped it up.
Forced, he did. So he too knocked on, so it's a head and feed for the Wolfpack.
This is exactly what they need here. As 34 gone in the first half. As Kay will take it. As he gives it off there, and for the 3rd tackle, they're brought down. Kay again swooping in behind, picking it up. And he's met very quickly. Rounded up by Mortimer, and then the Wolfpack will run right into the heart of the Centurions once again.
Well, they handle it then with Mortimer and Bezic. So some dummy halves or some low-risk plays, what we call low-risk from the Wolfpack, trying to clear their line, and we should probably try and find a kick to the sideline here, but Riley doesn't make the play, so Owens cleans it up. They get another opportunity against the Wolfpack 12 men.
Centurions a little room there, so they'll bring it back out. Some space to work with. Quick ball movement here, and then great pursuit. Might have the corner, trying to get past Kay. Kay drags his man down, and then wrapped up a great tackle as Ricky Bailey looked to have a lot of space.
Yeah, that's a penalty from O'Brien. Crooks does real well. Reynolds with the... Let's have a look. They got the penalty they're playing on here at the Leigh Centurions. Good attacking field position. Don't waste it like you wasted the last one. Tackle 1. Here's tackle 2.
And they're brought down quickly. 3 red shirts right there to meet them as they get out. Trying it on the near side now.
Good ball.
Fake to
Reynolds.
one side, then trying to fall backwards.
Short ball to Thompson. Nearly exposed the Wolfpack defence, but they were ready for it. Here's Reynolds again. He's the architect in chief. There's the play.
To it, and then one-on-one. Number 7 versus number 7. Wolfpack come out there, and then an open sideline down.
Wow. Well done, the Wolfpack.
And pushed him out just before.
Bergal has every right to score that. Doesn't get in the corner. He's pushed out by Matty Russell. That's on the back of smart play from Stanley. He released his wing. You can see him screaming. Here's the play. Reynolds, architect in chief. He gets the ball back here, wraps around, gets the ball again. So they've got a 4-on-3. Stanley buys himself some time and releases Russell. So the words from Chase Stanley is, go get your man, go get your man. Russell does that, bam, Bergal's in touch. So they're sniffing out this 30-man opportunities that they're creating at the moment, Leigh. They're in the right parts of the field. Everybody blowing. See some sweaty forwards out there now, but the Wolfpack 12 managing to scramble enough in defence to make a play.
Oh, and they're hoping these next couple minutes go as fast as possible so they can get a little bit of an extended water break.
Yeah, half-time's looming up. Leigh will want the ball back quickly in this next, so roughly there's 3 or 4 minutes to go, so each side in theory gets a couple of sets of 6 each, so Leigh will get another opportunity, and as you quite rightly say, Patterson in the bin. He's on the naughty step, Corey Patterson.
Wolfpack bring it out quick as Stanley was brought down, and then squirming through once again, Matty Russell. As they'll go to work, Buchanan. As Jack Buchanan is tough to bring down. shy of half. Liam Kay jumps one, but then 2 others are there to wrap him up as well. So the Wolfpack working through their tackles awfully quickly here as Sidlow is able to drag a couple with him across midfield.
But it's pretty simple stuff. You don't need to be a rocket scientist when there's Briley having a crack at the line, trying to create a 3-on-2, which he does. Russell manufactures a kick at the end. Owens will have to feel this and stay in the field of play, does he? No, he doesn't. That's unbelievable. That's a great kick. He has to play the ball. Daniel Mortimer is screaming that he wasn't given the opportunity, that he grounded the ball and was tackled, but the referee adjudicating that the red jumpers got down there and barreled him into touch, which gives them the head and feet of the scrums. Here we go. Here's Briley taking them on. Stanley 2-on-1. Matty Russell on the outside. Manufactures a kick. You've got Bessie, you've got Briley chasing. Owens picks it up and he's out of play.
And he just had nowhere to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now an attacking position here for the Wolfpack. So any chance of this game now that Leigh have got to bend their backs? This is a really important defensive set just before the half ends.
Up 20, time ticking away here in the first half as the Wolfpack have the opportunity to go up by even more. Quick out, a little bit of space here. Back to Wallace. Wallace fakes it and then tries to power through. He's dragged down as Wallace has Ackers waiting for him. Back to Buchanan. Buchanan takes 3 or 4 to bring him down as well as he's in the shadow.
He's had a bit of impact, hasn't he, Buchanan? Up to the fringes again. Briley out to O'Brien, finds Russell. Not quite execute the play as well. Kicks the ball and feels it.
And it looks like it bounced off the shins of Matty Russell as it was fed out to him on that side. So Wolfpack try and run it through once again. Quick little handoff in, and Russell will get it on the second try.
Well, Sidlow deserves to stand on the podium here. The big bloke goes back to the short side and finds an offload. And he gets to Chase Stanley, and Chase Stanley again releasing my. Here's Sidlow, here's the big man. Goes into 3 defenders, pops the ball out to Chase Stanley. Matty Russell, he'll score them every day of the week. He's 5 meters from the line. Here he goes, big man. Tracks 4 defenders, pops the ball out the back door. Chase Stanley hands it on to Matty Russell, just has to dive over the line. That's just power play from Sidlow and a smart offloading, selective, quality offload that releases Chase Stanley into the backfield and that tied up 4 defenders as well. They'll be disappointed with that, Leigh. The Wolfpack will be highly delighted.
You said this is exactly what they couldn't afford to do going into half, and it's exactly what happened to them.
Yeah, well, I think I'll be proved right by the end of the day. They need the kind of comeback that the Wolfpack have shown have in the set now, and they're capable.
And as we wait here for O'Brien, and unfortunately for him, can't push it through. So
that's a dominant half on the Wolfpack, BT. I think they've all their big blokes have done their job. They've controlled the ball really, really well. I think the one bit of control that they didn't have was when they were on the verge of scoring a try. They've been dominant defensively, in and around the ruck. The big blokes again have stopped progress. I think if it takes some solace for the Leigh side, I think Reynolds has looked sharp and dangerous when he's attacked the line, and Thompson trying to hit a hole there, and Mortimer and Hood looking dangerous around the ruck. But you have to say it's been a pretty dominant display from this Wolfpack team at the moment.
Ben Crooks has had a couple of big plays for them as well,
yes.
And it could even be more in Toronto's favor at this point if it wasn't for him, as we head down to Sam McDade. Sam?
Thank you so much, guys. Alongside Jake Emmett. Jake, what's it like playing in the heat? Has it been affecting the game at all for you guys? What's it been like out there?
I think it's affected both sides a bit. You can see in the tackle it's a bit quick, it's a bit of the sweat slipping on each other. So that's making it a bit quicker around the ruck. But I think we've coped with it really well, to be honest, and we've fought to get to that stage in the game now.
Hard-hitting game, hard weather for this game. And again, the offense really there, you guys limiting their offense after half. but you're used to being up a little bit more at this point. What are the keys that you're going into in the next half to really come out and keep this lead and come out with the win ultimately?
I think we've got to keep completing what we have been doing, completing our sets, makes us have a bit more energy than Leigh had in the first half. Because we've got the ball, so we can play on the front foot. We're not just wasting energy in defence. So we complete our sets, and we'll get to our points, and we'll hopefully put a few more scores on them.
Thanks so much, Jake. Appreciate the time.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. We'll send it back upstairs to Brian. Brian?
Thanks, Sam, and I guess Jake Emmett not happy with a 24-0 lead, but so far so good at home for the Wolfpack. We'll be back with more from halftime after this.
Must remember to repaint the walls, wash the cat, fix the toilet, and apologise to the clown.
These are pang. I should text Dave about these.
Did I leave the heating on?
Oh my gosh. Okay, Google,
Hi, how can I help?
call my agent.
It's ringing.
Mum? Dad? I've renounced all my possessions and I'm moving to Milton Keynes with my spirit guru and lover/father figure, Keith.
That's nothing! I just rented a BMW 5 Series for £49 from Sixt, and we're off to Margate.
Sixt! Drive smug!
Save on all you need at Curry's PC World.
Get up to £200 off this Sony 4K-ready Android TV with Google Assistant built in from $749, our lowest ever price. Save £40 on this 7-kilo Beko washer. Get the 8-kilo model for just £20 more. Collect in-store and take home today. And save £50 off these exclusive Beko ovens with a generous cooking space, perfect for a large family. At Curry's PC World, we help you get it right.
Julian, the sooner you... Oh, no.
Perfect.
So, some bozos dented your vehicle. Julian? Could have been anyone. Him. Them. Marigold. Anyway, you're probably thinking they wiped out your no-claim discount. But you're with Direct Line and you're not to blame. So unlike other insurers, you can claim and your no-claim discount is safe. I'll leave you leverage to it.
Kids don't have school today, save at the matinee. Done cleaning the garage, schedule hot stone massage. Game cancelled, kids are sad, let's all go bowl instead. Dishes have not been done, burgers for everyone. You'll save on lots of stuff, using Groupon to save. Now you'll have less to pay on things you do every day.
Download the free app and save. Groupon.
Hey, 1 pack of razors, please.
Comes to 1965.
What? That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't... Comes with a free gift.
Oh, free gift? That's cool.
Tired of getting beat up by high razor prices? Don't miss out on a great shave for just £5. Subscribe now at dollarshaveclub.com.
Oh, free gift.
We started off with the melanoma on your back.
Yeah.
We did the little cut in each armpit, and that was to check to see if it had spread or not.
There, yeah.
And it's good news. Okay?
Yes.
I'm shaving. Come on, tell me. Yes, I would.
A hotel can make or break a trip, and at Expedia, we don't think you should be rushed into booking one. That's why we created Expedia's Add-on Advantage. Now, after booking your flight, you unlock discounts on selected hotels for your trip that are available right until the day you leave. Add-on Advantage. Discounted hotels when you add on to your trip. Only when you book on Expedia.
If I win on Lotto this week, I'm going to give some of it to 3 of my best friends. They've just done things for me that really go beyond. They've been there when I've wanted them. I don't think they quite realise just how nice they've been. They're not my family, but I feel as if they are. I love them. All three of them.
Lotto. Who wins if you win?
And here we go then. Great atmosphere and the allure and glamour of this international champions cup. Rashford inside the area. Rashford scores! Well, he cut home from Marquinhos. Chiellini has scored. Pastore in the box. And Mosley. Robe, yes, Arsenal level it. Oh, what a goal! An absolute doozy.
You're talking a little bit about what Leigh has to do. They've had opportunities to get back into it. Is there anything, is it just kind of concentrating on what's gone well for the Centurions, even though they're down by 24 at this point? They have had those possessions, or is there something that they should change?
It's about reality. The coach has to highlight where they're getting beaten. In and around the middle at the moment. They're rucking the ball too quickly, the Wolfpack, so they've got to address that first and foremost, and then they've got to find some plays themselves when they get into that. All the coaches talk about the armour, so it's clearly being dominated at the moment by the Wolfpack, but that can change at half-time. A few words of wisdom from Kieran Pirtle should elicit some response. That's what you want, your own response. You can't guarantee a game changer or something like that, but you're hoping for that. And you've got to take the opposition to account as well. I don't think Paul Rowley's in there talking about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He's talking about something to keep his team going.
Yeah, they're keeping the planning for the Canada Day celebrations until post-game, that's for sure, as the Wolfpack converge quickly there for the first tackle.
Well, they get a penalty here, which helps them at the start of this half. It's important that they focus, and Blackburn adjudicate to have the ball stripped from Buchanan and Bezic, and so they've got some field position now at the start of the second half, and they'll want to start well.
Of course, that first half, all Toronto, but between these two teams, it's not who's up at half, it's who's up at the end, because the first two meetings, the Centurions had the lead at halftime both times, and Toronto was able to come back with them.
Well, Buchanan again transgressing around the rock. Bear in mind, they're still down to 12 men at the start of this second half, the Wolfpack. Patterson still have a couple of minutes to serve.
Corey Patterson off for about 3 minutes. It was about at the 33-minute mark that he took his penalty. Quick passing right here, and they're going to have some space as they truck their way through and down. It came loose though, and the Wolfpack, it looked like they got it back, but it might be Leigh on the board for the first time this afternoon.
Well, you don't give the dog a ball, and they've done just that. 2 penalties on the bounce at the start of this second half. Here's the finish from Crooks. Takes O'Brien over the line with him. Reynolds again, the architect. He's had a good game, hasn't he, Crooks? Come up with some defensive stuff that's kept his team in and around. And there's Reynolds, here's the play. So they got some field position. Out the back. Reynolds finds Owens, who releases Crooks down the sideline, and he does the rest, backs himself. And when you back yourself, you've got to get there, and he did.
And he rolled over towards the end of it, and the Wolfpack tried to poke the ball out, but he'd already touched down, so he snuck it in there before the Wolfpack snuck in.
Yeah, nice kick, nailed it. You have to say that Reynolds has been a pick for me, and here's the play.
Scored by number 3, Ben Crooks.
That's
converted by number 6, Ben
great play from this Ben Crooks. Here's the finish. O'Brien can't quite clean him up. Gregson, I think, goes to the line initially, releases Owens, gives Ben Crooks a one-on-one opportunity. He's got his winger on his outside, which is Bailey, and doesn't need him. Backs himself. Game on.
Chipping away with their first try of the afternoon. Convert good as well. So the Centurions are going to go to work here. As a big hit trying to run up with it, but then meeting Chase Stanley face to face.
Well, that's 3 on the bounce. Now, what's he giving the penalty for here? Referee adjudicated, pulling Buchanan over, saying he's been involved in the last 2 penalties as well.
Sidlow's in there as well.
So what we're saying here is, what's he giving it for? Even shoulder charge. So he said, just for our North American viewers, the shoulder charge is banned in rugby league. You have to wrap your arms around, you have to contact with the shoulder. It's perfectly legal, but you can't per se just use your shoulder. Here we go and explain, adjudicating that's well, very much like a chest to me, but there you go. Shoulder charge adjudicated and penalty given. So penalties on the bounce, giving free field position, and Richards ploughing into the line for this Leigh team who've now got their tails up.
They've come out of the locker rooms with fresh legs here as Leigh is back into the Toronto end and forcing their way through. They've got it, quick passing here, and then met by 2 members of the Wolf Pack.
Patterson's back on the field. Takes him back to a full complement.
Patterson in on that one. He's in on that one as well. As he was there to drag down Cunningham, and this one's punched through, and Toronto will take it and rolled out the back.
Smart play from Mortimer. Nice kick. 6 more plays. Perfect start to this second half. Helped by a bit of ill discipline from the Wolfpack. 3 penalties on the bounce. Kick into the in goal. Have to drop the ball out from under on their stick, so they get 6 more plays in attack for this Leigh team.
And it's a little strange coming out of the locker room. You'd figure they'd have better composure because they've had the chance to cool down a little bit, but instead Toronto coming out firing so far.
Well, that's a lot to do with what the coaches say to their teams, and clearly Purtill's had a word with this Leigh team, Blackburn.
He's trying to slice his way through, but brought down. Toronto retreats and waits. Quick passing to the near side. That one bouncing in front and then just tumbling on top of it was Leroy.
Yeah, Leroy spilled his beans there. Hutchinson going out the line. We said at the start of the show they'll have a look at short sides, trying to outnumber the Wolfpack defenders. Leroy wasn't ready. Hutchinson popped the ball up and he just spilled it. So let off the hook there, the Wolfpack.
And it's fortunate for them because it seemed like Leigh was playing with all the momentum so far in this half.
Well, the first 5 minutes they've had all the ball. I don't think the Wolfpack have touched the ball yet in this second half, have they?
I think this will, in fact, be their first time with it. And they get the quick pass out to the left side, and it looks like they're going to try and push the pace once again as Buchanan muscles his way out just shy of midfield. Wriggles his way up, and that pass nearly behind Wallace, but able to corral it. And then he's got his legs taken out from him.
Maybe sloppy.
He was just lucky he was able to get both hands on it.
Good offload.
Then they're going to do a quick pass right there and running over the tackler. Wolfpack getting huge space there from Ackers, as now it'll be handed off once again, and trying to muscle his way through was Hopkins.
Last play, go to the boot. Briley to the air.
Briley's just going to punch this one over.
That's a knock on from Leigh. Oh, a penalty. Adjudicated that Whiting wasn't challenging for the ball in the air, that he's taken a Leigh defender out. An interesting rewatch, that one. Gareth Ewer on the spot, the referee saying that penalty, so more free position here, more free meters for this. Here you go, here's the kick, Briley on the boot. Should be a one-on-one competition. Adjudicated that Patterson bashed Crooks out of the way, who then knocked it on. So 4 penalties at the start of the second half, if I'm not mistaken.
And Patterson a quick one in his return to action after sitting off for 10. So Leigh will go to work once again, 7 gone here. And the second half, and the Wolfpack are quick on the ball here, and they pick one up and they'll kick it down, giving chase all the way back.
Right. Burgle. So the initial offence, if you like, is They've dropped the ball of Leigh, which is a free play from the league. So if the opposition pick the ball up, they can do anything they can play as long as it's not illegal. Ryan Briley was clearly offside when they kicked the ball there, so he can't play the ball. So in essence, they've got a free play without any hindrance. They can go back to the scrum play and get their head and feet at the scrum. It's to encourage open play, it's to encourage ball movement, it's to encourage the teams to have a dig after an error. And unfortunately, Briley was a good 5 metres offside on the kick, so they brought it back. Still got the advantage. They know this. They have to take a punt and a gamble.
And then a bit of a water break here as well, as the Wolfpack have struggled to get past midfield in their one possession so far. As the Centurions, a couple of trips down into Wolfpack territory, but they were able to get their first try of the game to make it 24-6 here in the second half. Wrestled down there and looking for a little bit more space as the Wolfpack push it forward. Quick scramble to hold on to the ball there from Hopkins, and then Buchanan plows his way through as well, opening up a little bit of space, and the quick passing again for Wolfpack as they're rolled up. Goes to try once again as he tries to slice his way through. Now is Ackers.
Gee, he's quick.
Found a little bit of space, got it into the shadows of the uprights and bobbled off the pass, and it's going to be taken back the other way, and quick to get back there was Blake Wallace.
Owens was away. They've had to regroup. The boys in red. Patterson had the one-on-one, spilled the ball, trying to get through on the pass from Wallace.
And it was Wallace who made that pass. He was the first one back to get to the tackle. He had to recover awfully quick to make sure that the Centurions weren't taking it the other way.
Yeah, you nailed that one.
So Leigh continues to push here. Far side, wrapped up. Looking for a little bit of room, but slammed back down. Kay was in on it, so they'll work it once again. Back to the middle of the field, a little bit of space as they fall forward. Quick out to the side, and taking a beating for that, Ben Reynolds let it go off his boot, and it looked like it got through. And all of a sudden, the Centurions are tripping away here.
Well, just got to show on the right of the field. I think O'Brien drops the ball. If we got a decision here from the referee, something's gone on. Has he given the try? Has he not given the try? So Reynolds puts the ball up. Is he offside, Ben Crooks? He's given a penalty for. He's given a penalty for. Well, let's have a look in depth. So Mortimer, Reynolds on the kick. He's saying that. Is he saying that Liam Kay's? If he's saying that Liam Kay's impeded him in relation to Chase, why didn't he play on and let him score the try? He's absolutely saying, he must be saying that the kicker was attacked late, so that means a penalty is given where the ball lands. It's going to be the only adjudication.
So the Centurions get it just in the shadow of the Toronto end and wrapped up there after some quick passing.
Well, Hutchinson went to Bodine, which is one of their set plays on the left-hand side, and
all right, fans, we got the
Royer actually went to, saying it's a forward pass. Let them off the hook there.
That's the second time today they've let them off the hook with one of those.
We got Jacob Cresta turning 8.
Well, I think if the Wolfpack were to be brutally honest, they've been scruffy in the second half. An element of ill discipline and just not quite where they were at in the first half. So they'll be looking to reinvent that kind of form. And you have to say that Leigh sniffing a little bit here, aren't they?
Leigh has definitely been the sharper team so far, and I mean, that doesn't even have to go beyond the penalties. You look at it, the Wolfpack taking 4 in the early stages. It was pretty much 4 within the first 7 minutes of this second half. But they're saved here by a forward pass as Leigh was just on the edge of their second try of the afternoon, second try of the half, so the Wolfpack will get a little bit of breathing space right here as they rumble it out. Kay will take it now. Kay going to do it all on his own as he's wrangled down. Quick handoff here, quick ball movement as Patterson, he pushes his way out across, and then
this is a bit more route one, isn't it? And because you play route one, you start winning the ground in and around the ruck, so quick play the balls, and then the opposition have to fiddle around with you and try and stop it. There you see Gareth Hugh indicating that the lead defender's trying to slow Patterson down, and he had every right to play the ball quickly because he'd won. He'd been dominant in relation to the tackle. And so now a bit of field position for the first time in the second half for the Wolfpack.
And this is exactly what they need based on the way that they started, is falling forward with it with Sidlow. As Wallace has it, works it back to Buchanan. As Buchanan is eventually wrestled down. And a quick pass there, bouncing though, but taking it off the hop and saving that.
Well, somebody missed a play there. It should have gone straight to hands, didn't. Now they're going back to the middle with Buchanan, who's pretty good at laying the line. Good push from Hopkins.
And two aren't going to stop Buchanan as he pushes his way all the way down, looking for a little bit of a hole to sneak through, wrestled down. And the Wolfpack get it as they're able to poke their way through and respond with a try of their own here in the second half.
Well, it's basic, and it's route one, and it's Andy Ackers, and he sees a hole, and he goes, and he throws the dummy, and he beats Richards, I think it is, and Owens again. They can't stop him. They'll be disappointed with their goal line effort there. There's Ackers. That's what he's good at, picking the hole. Owens and Richards can't stop the play. It's Richards on the goal line there, and he picks out a bigger bloke and uses his footwork, and yeah, he's happy with that. It's Andy Ackers. Restores the advantage that the Wolfpack had at the half.
So O'Brien will set things up, but again, when you look at that, it almost didn't look like he was about to plow his way through. Leigh were there very quickly. They were trying to close the hole, but just couldn't get there fast enough.
Well, he's strong, and he's the right shape and size to be attacking the line in that kind of area, and anybody worth their salt with those kind of talents who's going to have a crack like that. And it may not look the prettiest in the world when you see it rerun, as we will do, but if you get it on that white line where the sticks are, it counts the same amount of points as if you throw it through 37 pairs of hands. So
the old saying we have over here is it doesn't matter how, it's how many. So I think that applies in that case for him.
You're right.
So O'Brien steps through that one once again after the try from Ackers.
Real happy. Gets it down, slaps it down. Richards and Owens that can't stop that play.
And just as soon as the Centurions look to be showing a little life here, they had their first try of the half. They were down twice after that into Toronto territory. The Wolfpack respond with a try of their own as they expand things out to 30-6 here.
Lussick back on the field for the Wolfpack, and Emmett. So a couple of big boppers coming back on the field to help with their roll forward.
They'll go for it again. Quick tackle there. Drew Hutchison was just waiting.
Leigh substitution coming to the game, number 13.
Looked like Daniel Mortimer was in there as well. And Buchanan again, it takes 4 or 5 men to bring him down. As we've seen time and time again this afternoon, now with a little bit of room to work. And then a quick pass over and just bouncing off the hands of Lussick. Matty Russell had a head of steam right there, but just couldn't find his way through.
Yeah, it's like a firework going off, isn't it? Matty Russell, he beats one, he beats two. It's like a Catherine wheel. And he's ricocheting out and he gets his hands free and he's looking for some support. And Darcy Lussick offers himself up, hits the line as hard as he can, but couldn't take the ball with him. And it might come off second best in relation to either knocking a finger back or something near his wrist. They couldn't pull the ball in. Had he pulled the ball in, he might have been under the sticks, the big man. But you have to say that Russell, when he's on the fly, it's hard work. It's hard work for a defence.
It looks like he's going to be all right to stay out there. It looked like he was taking a look at his left wrist there, so might have jammed something on the way down.
There's a bit more ball now for Leigh on the halfway line.
So Leigh takes over at half as they look to continue to chip away at this Wolfpack lead. Quick pass there, and then churning the legs, Liam Hood trying to get a little bit more space, trying to get back up quickly as well, the dummy there, and then fed all the way back. 3 quick passes, 4 quick passes, and driving it back in to the middle of the field as Leigh continues to chew up the turf here, and a big hit behind by Buchanan, but the pass got away.
So that one was forward. That was a tough call, I thought. Touches called it. Gareth Hughes looked at his touch judge, said it was forward, the last pass there. Good expansive play from this Leigh team, trying to get back into the mix. Push through. I think it was Blackburn that came on the end with the final pass to him, but Reynolds, for me, has been dangerous all afternoon. He's gone at the line, he found some willing support there, he pass, and adjudicators have gone forward.
Has to be tough too when you look up and you're looking for someone to pass to, and all of a sudden you have Jack Buchanan coming down on you.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a reflection of his bonny good looks or the fact that he's a big man and he's going to put you into next week.
I think it's the second one. He could look as pretty as he wants, but if he's going to put you into next week, I don't think that's comfortable for anyone.
I agree. Leigh are creating half opportunities. It's just that final pass is going astray at the moment. I've been reasonably pleased with what they're dishing up, I would imagine. Got good line speeders here as well defensively, so that they're getting vigorous around the ruck, putting numbers into the tackle. Blue jumpers firing forward, Hansen firing forward here on Lussick, and mixing each other, and they're mixing it up at the minute. It's getting a bit tasty out there.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to get testy in this second half. The dummy, and then pass back, Liam Kay. Liam Kay has grass ahead of him, has to hand it off, and it's in the feet as Wallace scoops it up. Wallace might have the corner, and he does.
We'll enjoy that hat-trick, Blake Wallace. Acker's the architect. They've done so well the first 3 plays of this defensive set, and then here you go. Ackers takes off, throws a dummy, somebody gets in front, forms a triangle. Wallace is there. There's 5 players there. Big one. Now going to do it himself. They can't find one. Comes off the heels of Matty Russell, and then Wallace dives into the corner. Despite Ben Crooks trying to vain effort. Here you go. I'm off again. Boom! There he goes. Straight past Leroy. Finds Kay. 5 red jumpers. Bailey finds a defensive play on Kay. Matty Russell can't pick the ball up. Blake Wallace can, and dives in at the corner for a fabulous score.
And I tell you what, on that, I would give Bodine Thompson a lot of credit, because there's not a lot of people that can catch Liam Kay when he gets ahead of steam, but he was right with him and forcing him to pass that one off.
Yeah, well, I think it's actually Bailey that gets there, and Owens and Crooks can't clean up the spoils because of the bounce of the ball, but all of a sudden, Leigh are looking vigorous, defending really well. One person clocks off, gets in front of the line. Acker sees that. That's the talent in this the red team with the red jumpers. They can burn you at any stage.
And the second one today that O'Brien's pulled a little bit, but going back to that point, that's one of the things that we talked about. I mean, the scores were a little one-sided in the last 2 matches, but that's exactly what the Wolfpack have shown over the past couple of games at home, is that they have the speed and they have the power, and when those 2 things match up for them, it's very tough to stop.
Yeah, it's an astute reflection in relation to the opposition. Everybody aims up. This team got some talent in blue. I'd say the first half was clearly a bit one-sided. I think Leigh have had a dig in this second half, but you have to say when the Wolfpack concentrate on rolling the rucks forward, and they've got some talent on the end of that. Jake Emmett, he's been good today. Cannon's been good.
As the Wolfpack push it back out to midfield once again, as O'Brien was looking for a little bit of space, rather Lussick. As that one comes off to the side again, and a big hit there from Hansen. As he's
That's what happens. So that's the kind of story I was trying to paint at the start. 3 or 4 rucks they can handle. Big blokes ploughing into the line. Can't get out of the way. Left on the ground. Emmett goes for his second carry. It's just that energy battle that you lose and you end up being scruffy in and around the ruck. They just haven't won enough rucks today, Leigh, and the Wolfpack have. They've been very dominant.
Buchanan was trying to push his way forward there, and there's a little bit of room as dragged down just.
Well, Bezic it was.
Before he could get in for the try was Bezic. And it'll come back here, a little bit of space. Buchanan's going to try it once again, and he's upended. Just in front of the
left
uprights.
here, quick.
They're going to try and move it here to the near side. A little bit of space and slicing through. Packers with his second of the half.
Well, it picks out Baldwinson this time. Packers, he's just looking for any opportunity. There you go. Bang. Too many spacing around the ruck. Nervousness that they've got. Baldwinson that he beats to the line, can't stop him from there.
The Toronto try, his second of the game, scored by number 14, Andy Acker.
Bash on the cheek for his troubles as well, a little black eye there. Slightly easier kick for O'Brien, a bit nearer the sticks.
And all of a sudden, after that promising start from Leigh, all of a sudden things are back to going Toronto's way.
On the back of some decent go-forward play again, I have to say, you know, they're prepared to be patient and look after the ball. I have to say that they're pretty hard to stop.
O'Brien once again. He's pushed 2 today, but he's knocked all the others through. This one, one of the easier ones he'll put. So the Wolfpack, there you go. After conceding that early try, I mean, they've come back and it's been all them for about the last 15 minutes, Brian.
Oh, send it tip for a dummy half there. He gets in between. Baldwinson can't make the ground up. Leroy can't get back to close the gap. When you're that quick and powerful from that line. It's on the back of what these big blokes have done. Buchanan's been good carrying the ball. Sidlow's been good. Emmett's been Lussick here. Just it's relentless, and so that becomes hard in and around the middle. People on the edges of the defence get nervous. We see people left on the ground there. So again, exploiting a bit of a hole here for Chase Stanley to carry the ball.
3 Centurions swoop in there, trying to pick it away, looking for anything at this point. We're past the halfway point. There's a hard tackle there at midfield. Buchanan's going to go for a run again, and he continues to just...
He's had a big game, hasn't he?
Throw his weight around and create some space as this one's poked through, but Centurions there looking for...
Well, they've marched the lead team down the field. Buchanan, Emmett, Lussick, Stanley with some help.
And trying to run right into... Carry. I think it might have been Patterson in the middle of there, yeah.
Ben Crooks trying to inspire his team. He's got some pretty good players in this game, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it looked like he was just trying to run into a wall right there when he went head-to-head with Patterson. He goes to work once again, trying to burst across. This one through midfield and just dragged down. How about the run there from Hansen? As Leigh will get it back, looking for a response, but put down quickly Baldwinson. Mortimer, quick passes to the outside, that one behind. As a couple of jump steps there, bounce back, and 3 quick passes all of a sudden, and this one had to be corralled quickly, and the Wolfpack right there to wrap it up.
Well, that's last play for Leigh. They didn't want to kick, clearly there are too many scores behind, they're trying to get on the scoreboard themselves, so they've got to be a bit more expansive. So they find pass plays, they're trying to find a kick play, they're trying to find a trick play. But the red jumpers are up in a line and close the play down. to the point where they lose a few metres on their last play, but they've got to be expansive. You can't fault Leigh for chancing their arm.
So the Wolfpack will go back to work once again, and Buchanan can push his way across half. Gets back to his feet. Now the quick passing game might take over here for Toronto. Is dummy there and then rolling up through the middle, Beswick. As he's brought down and then handed off, and a big run, but fumbled there, dropped down to the turf as Lustig didn't get a clean handle on it, and then the ball's out once again.
Everything was right until he dropped the ball. The lead-up play, and it was setting up for a big play to their left-hand side with a Wolfpack scrum now, because both sides knocked on, spilled their ball, and so adjudicated head and feet to this Leigh team, and both teams taking the opportunity to rig something in these breaks. What was the Arson Sim said? Hotter than Hell's Kitchen.
He would know too. If anybody knows about heat.
I'm not sure he's ever been anywhere near Hell's Kitchen, but however, it's too good a blow.
They won't have too much longer to deal with it, but the team left just over. As Leigh will look again, exhausted the 6 tackles last time. Likely looking to do the same thing here. As desperate times for them, they need something, some sort of try to get back into it. They might have a little bit of something cooking here as they're out across half and then dragged down. Wallace in on that tackle.
Crooks and Bailey have been their best outlets via Reynolds normally, and here's Hutchinson going the other way, looking inside for Hansen, trying to get to the right parts of the field.
Hansen was trying to cut things back up the middle, and it looked like he was just stopped momentum-wise there. Quick pass in here, another one wide open.
That's what they can do.
And Leigh is going to get their second of the game.
That's what they can do.
Daniel Mortimer.
Inside ball from Hutchinson. Owens on the tail. Watch this. Here you go. Hutchinson on his inside to Owens, and won't have an easier score, Daniel Mortimer. So there you go. Hutchinson at the line. Plays on his inside and outside. Jack Owens gets through the hole. Daniel Mortimer finishes off the play. Nice play from Leigh. There gets on the inside of Bob Bezic, and been disappointed with that Wolfpack, but great score from Leigh. Capable of doing that. They looked again, went through there. That started with Crooks again and Bailey finding impressions into this Wolfpack side, and then coming back at the middle. Hutchinson with players on his inside and his outside, and he picked the right option.
Reynolds here. Puts this one through easily.
Scored by number 9, Daniel Mortimer. Conversion by number 6, Ben Reynolds.
So Mortimer gets in there for Leigh.
Well, they've had some field position. They've looked dangerously. They're encouraged by that. They just haven't enough. The Wolfpack have rolled them down the middle. Been some decent shots on each other as well out there, hasn't there?
Yeah, it's been a physical one so far. Well, that's what we expected when these two met up, and there's a whole lot of history between these two sides.
You can bet your bottom dollar that they're probably going to feature in those middle eights as well. Deep kick-off from the Wolfpack.
Deep kick there.
Number 21,
you get a look at substitutions brought to you by Air Transat.
Penalty there for Leigh. Got to say the story of the second half of 5 or 6 penalties have given them some field position, otherwise it might have been a different story.
So Leigh goes to work once again, just on their side of half. Wrestled down, 3 red shirts there. As they'll roll over, take a second crack at it. Slicing through and a big hit there, Baldwinson, as he's brought down to the turf. And a couple more quick passes, a dummy as well.
Yeah, they're trying to expose some space on the fringes.
And they're running out of tackles here. as they're going to try and go right back up the middle. Looked like it was Thompson that got that. As now it'll go back to the outside. Quick again, and then met very quickly. But again, Leigh finding some open space here, and they might have just run out of luck on that last one. As Mortimer seemed to have a little bit of space, might have had the opportunity to go. Quick passing to the outside, near side here, in!
That's a try.
And they've got that one. It's just barely squeaking through. And Leigh's got their second in the last 5 minutes.
There you go. Playing expansion they've got to do. Hutchinson gets into the backfield. Hansen always available. Mortimer there, making impressions. Gets himself a quick play of the ball. Hansen has a dig at the line here because he's been surrounded. Finds Hutchinson, who finds Leroy. Gets over the Lovett, sorry. Gets over and gets the ball down, Lovett. So there's Hansen. He's gone over the top. He finds Hutchinson. Lovett's there. Beats Stanley and O'Brien to the line. We're having to crack the second half out of this Leigh team. Oh, we've seen some great expansion and great play from both these teams today. Ben Reynolds with a kick to come. Yeah, nailed it.
That one he drills straight through as well, so the big, he's 3 for 3 for today.
They've been hitting each other pretty hard as well, haven't they?
Love it. Conversion by number 6.
And here you're going to look at the hit of the game, brought to you by Maple Leaf Diamonds. And this one for Leigh right here, there's been a lot of those, but planted was Gareth O'Brien.
Maple Leaf Diamonds hit of the game was Ben Crooks defensively. He's had a decent game, but I think will still be a losing effort. But there we see the prowess of this Leigh team. You know, they'll shout out that they've got 6 or 7 players missing. The Wolfpack themselves have 3 or 4 players missing.
All right, guys, we want to thank you for coming out to this Canada Day weekend
their way out.
The official attendance today is 6,844. On behalf of the Toronto Wolfpack, we thank you all and have a great Canada Day weekend.
Now there's a scrum going away from the play, and we wondered about this. The teams have gotten into it both times that they've matched up so far this season. Looked like there might have been a shot thrown over top of a couple shoulders. And the one thing, Brian, I asked you about pregame was the fact that in the press anyways, both teams came out and said that, you know, what happened at the end of the last matchup was a misunderstanding. They seemed to have shook hands and gone their separate ways, but we still wondered if there'd be anything kind of left to spill over from those two.
I'm not sure that's a result of that. I think that's long gone and dead and buried, if you like, but clearly Hutchinson and Shaw had a disagreement, but something went on when the ball had shifted. It'd be interesting to see what the referee's take on this is. Jay came out with his torn shirt, so there's been a bit of ragging around gone in there, and see what the officials do here.
I didn't quite get a look at where it started because they had already passed off at that point.
Or we missed it. So Gareth Hughes got an opinion here. Someone's going for 10. Jake Emmett's got 10 in the bin.
This afternoon will be done.
There's somebody else. So
it looks like
Drew Hutchinson as well. Is it Drew Hutchinson? No, it's Greg Richards. Yeah. Well, something clearly gone on there.
That's the old trick, though, is that if you don't know who started it, you throw both guys out that were there at the beginning of it anyways.
A couple of yellow cards here for whatever's gone on.
So Leigh will take it back here and they've started to put a little bit of pressure on Toronto. They've at least built some positive momentum for themselves. A couple of tries in the last 5 minutes. As they'll go to work again, brought down quickly. Wolfpack smothering when it comes to tackles. Dummy there, and then dragged down. Looked like it might have been Reynolds. Is now they'll go to work in the middle of the field and trying to just drive through as Baldwinson as he's dragged down by a couple of Wolfpack. And they'll feed it back. Leigh, another opportunity here, and they're through. So Leigh continues to build some late momentum here as the Wolfpack defense continues to fall apart.
Well, he's had a big game, hasn't he, Crooks? And again, this is the right-hand side. Reynolds had a big game as well. His partner in crime has been Crooks. He's got Thompson there offering himself. Get wide and picks his man 2-1, and Kay can't quite come in and stop him, and Ben Crooks gets the spoils. So great finish to this game from Leigh in the second half. They've aimed up, you have to say.
As Leigh continues to push here. On for 40-24.
Pushed it to the right. Reynolds will be disappointed with that.
And that's the first one he's missed
The
this
lead try,
afternoon.
his second of the game, scored by number 3, Ben Crooks.
So it was Crooks with that try, slicing his way through. So he's got 2 on the afternoon.
It's had a good game. Quite a few of the lead players end up certainly the second half. I think they were pretty much gold in the first half, where they got themselves a lead in the second half.
That's true. If you look at it that way, you break it down. 2 tries for Toronto, I think, in this half. Leigh has continued to push, but they might just run out of time when it comes to the clock. Continues to work it up the field, dragged down quickly though.
It's a good carry from Burgle, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's had a couple so
by
far.
Laroya. Yeah, he started pitching this second half. He's coming from the wing, and here's Hutchinson again looking for inside players. Find
more quick passing, and then dragged down quickly was Mortimer. You talk about guys that have had a good second half. He's one of them.
Reynolds.
A couple quick moves to the outside, far side. Trying to poke it through, and a bouncing one, and they'll touch down.
Offside. He's offside. It was a smart play if he'd have been onside, but he was clearly offside. Reynolds with the kick, I think it was. So yeah. Let's have a look. There you go. Here's the spread play. Go to the fringes, Reynolds. Gregson again. Bailey puts it on the toe. He's offside. Believe his luck. Owens it is. But there's Wolfpack rocking the ball out again.
That's what you were talking about earlier, though. At this point, you have to try a lot of different things, and when you're doing that, sometimes mistakes will happen.
Well, they've chased the game, and they've chased it pretty well. Russell, geez, a handful.
Trying to run the game away, Matty Russell. One Wolfpack player is down behind the play, not sure of the number as Brierly is ridden down. It looks like Krasnicki.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Messi carries the ball into the line. Last tackle for the Wolfpack.
Well,
smart thing from Briley, kick the ball out. Again, that rest, our viewers now will understand that. Well, we've got a move of the match coming up. It's the tech-savvy move of the match was this one. And here we go. It involves this Manak as explodes out of the gun. Kay on his outside, feels the ball, plenty of red jumpers in support, throws the speculator, doesn't go to hand, up the heel to Russell, and Blake Wallace makes the corner. There you go, that's the tech-savvy move of the game.
And that's a big one too, because if you look at what that did, it essentially, that was their last score, puts it out of hand at that point. And with the way that Leigh has come back now in the later stages, ends up being a pretty important try.
A little bit of that is psychology, you know. At the start of the second half, I think there were 4 penalties on the bounce, and gave them some field position, gave them some belief. And they've taken every opportunity, you have to say, so full credit to this Leigh outfit.
Hopkins coming in is the substitution, brought to you by Air Transat. As Leigh looking for a little bit of room here.
Found it.
And they might have some here on the outside, trying to cut back inside on Wallace, spun through, and then he's finally dragged down. Took 2 Wolfpack to get there, but again, closing Blake Wallace. He's had a couple of big tackles with a shove at the end of that play as well.
Oh, there you go.
Passes over again. Pass to the outside, might have another one there.
Let's play on.
Put it on the turf, and a lot of open space, and diving through.
Well, Lubbock got lucky there. That's definitely a try. So they've gone from coast to coast, as they say. They go to the right, Bailey makes a break, and they come back on this left-hand side, right across the line. Mortimer to Hutchinson, releases Lovett, gets Fergal down the sideline and throws it backwards. Lovett feels it, Hutchinson picks it up, and I think Daniel Mortimer is the recipient of another big effort from this Leigh team. So Judicator clocked off, Stanley's out of position. Fergal feels it back somehow. Lovett throws it inside, and Mortimer finishes it off. You have to say they've had a crack in the second half of the Leigh team.
That's a big one for Mortimer too. I think that gives him 3 on the afternoon.
Score by number 9, Daniel Mortimer.
Certainly beat Johnny on the spot, hasn't he?
Reynolds kicks through again. So all of a sudden you look up and it's 40-28, when before it wasn't necessarily this close when we kicked off in the second half.
So there's some lessons for both teams. You know, we talked about, can teams turn it around? Yeah. There's him nailing the kick. So you have to say they've ended up in the second half, haven't this Leigh team?
Well, and that's one of the things that they wanted to do. I know that they came in, they wanted to, you know, get a little bit of revenge for the 2 results that happened overseas. And they'll start out once again here.
Well, at the end of the day, they won't get the 2 points, but they can certainly walk out with their heads held high, can't they?
Well, especially overcoming some of the conditions that they've had here in Toronto this afternoon. Again, heat upwards of 40 degrees. Quick passing here. That one ends up on the turf. Toronto will have it. Turn it back. Pass off. And this might be the easiest one that Leigh and Kay will ever score.
I think that's called a gimme. I think Leigh are trying to expose on the flanks, and had they executed well, they'd done that. They threw the ball to the ground. Richard Whiting picked it up, nearly made the line, and found Kay. Here you go. Here's the Leigh player. Hutchinson out the back. Finds Reynolds. If he executes the 2-on-1 there, Crooks. Bailey's going down the sideline again, maybe not for a score, but Whiting picks up the spoils, and Liam puts it down over the sideline. That's probably will wrap this game up. Clock's ticking away.
With Kay, it's always a matter of when he gets on the board, because he's such an electrifying player out there.
Well, if my Toronto player, I'm probably in the huddle thinking, a little bit disappointed with the second half what we went on with. But if you're a Leigh player, we thought, yeah, we've got a dig here.
Conversion by number 31, Kaz O'Brien.
Well, the game's over. And there's a I think Wallace got a hat-trick today. He's a man who has a lot of complimentary accolades with close, broke the game open in the second half of the Wolfpack. A lot of the big blokes doing good jobs, but the air transat man of the match today is Blake Wallace. There's the jab, as you called it, BT. Lots of support in and around him. Probing at the line. Here's the pick-up and the dive into the corner. I think this is his third one. There you go, Blake Wallace. The air transat man of the match.
And you look at what he did. He was certainly the difference in this one, and one that ended up being a little bit closer than it was at half. 46-28 the final. Plenty of coverage post-game coming up now.
It's ringing.
Mum? Dad? I've renounced all my possessions and I'm moving to Milton Keynes with my spirit guru and lover / father figure. Keith.
That's nothing! I just rented a BMW 5 Series for £49 from Sixt, and we're off to Margate.
Sixt! Drive smug!
He's got the ball, he's going to score, he's got to score! Oh! He's down, come on!
He's got to give it to...
Jim, you need to go and stand outside right now. Please, we always score penalties when you're not in the room.
I'm not missing this.
I'll go with you. Come on, we'll all go.
Unbelievable.
All eyes on him. And he's scored! That is truly world class. Now they're only 5-1 down.
Oh my gosh. I should call my agent.
I wish I understood Japanese.
Sky looks amazing. I look amazing. I should take a selfie.
Oh, flip.
Okay, Google.
Hi, how can I help?
Play my positivity playlist.
Better. It's out there. But you've got to chase it down. Time to cut the rope. Get stuck in. Turn him into him. Learning things my teachers couldn't teach. Reaching heights I never thought I'd reach. I'm part of a crew now, never alone. From nowhere to everywhere. I left a small town and turned it around. I was born in Blythe, but I was made in the Royal Navy.
Hey, 1 pack of razors, please.
Comes to 1965.
What? That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't... Comes with a free gift.
Oh, free gift? That's cool.
Tired of getting beat up by high razor prices? Don't wait. Get an amazing shave for just £5. Subscribe now at dollarshaveclub.com.
Oh, free gift.
Come on, Red.
Come on, Sevens!
Come on, Lemons. Come on, Cherries.
Come on, 21! Come on, Sixes!
Come on, Blues. Come on. ComeOn.com with sensational slots, roulette, blackjack, and millions of pounds in daily jackpots to be won. Play at ComeOn.com and get 20 free spins.
Thank you for taking my call. Before we continue, could you say the first and third digits of your security PIN? Oh, I didn't catch that. Sorry. That's the second and fourth, please. Okay, lovely. All gone through. Did you see what I did there?
It's a scam. Never reveal your full security PIN, even if you think it's your bank calling. Learn how to protect yourself from fraud.
Save on all you need at Curry's PC World.
Get up to £200 off this Sony 4K-ready Android TV with Google Assistant built in from $749, our lowest ever price. Save £40 on this 7-kilo Beko washer. Get the 8-kilo model for just £20 more. Collect in-store and take home today. And save £50 off these exclusive Beko ovens with a generous cooking space perfect for a large family. At Curry's PC World, we help you get it right.
Base to
Action Man, what is your status? Over.
I just saved at Money Supermarket, and now I feel epic. Over.
And here we go then. Great atmosphere, the allure and glamour of this International Champions Cup. Rashford inside the area, Rashford scores! Rashford chucked home by Marquinhos, Chiellini has scored. Pastore in the box, and Mosley! Awobe, yes, Arsenal level it. Simon Dendez, oh what a goal! Absolute doozy.
Watch high-speed action from two of Europe's elite speedway leagues. As some of the sport's top stars ride in the Swedish Elitserien and Polish Extraliga competition.
Well, what an absolutely fantastic race that was.
Polish and Swedish speedway on Free Sports. Get your highlights from across the NASCAR universe on Free Sports with hour-long roundups from the Monster Energy Cup Series.
Smash the gas and make it roll. Larson the leader. Busch trying to go to the outside.
The best of the Trucks and Xfinity Series.
Doing a great job, man.
Plus all the chat, interviews, and race previews with NASCAR America.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to NASCAR America. Carol Amano, Parker Clearman, and we have Jeff Burton with us.
Watch it all on Free Sports.
Beautifully done.
The turn and the shot into the second goal.
That is what the crowd demanded.
The Copa do Brasil quarter-finals. This August on Free Sports.
Hello and welcome to the second round of 8 in the 2018 FIM Maxxis Enduro World Championship. For the first time in series history, we're in the northwest of Spain. Santiago de Compostela in the Galicia region to be exact, the town itself a UNESCO World Heritage Site famous for its many monasteries and churches. The contrast between the old town and the 70-kilometre circuit awaiting the riders couldn't be more stark. After the extreme cold, ice and snow that faced the riders in the season's opening round in Finland, this race a return to more familiar terrain for all the teams involved. Smiles very much the order of the day as everyone posed for their photo call. Those bikes and overalls looking ever so clean and shiny for the moment, but the course will soon put a stop to that as the 2018 FIM Maxxis Enduro World Championship starts to heat up. On Friday, the first Akrapovic Super Test of the season saw the riders pitted against a special extreme course set in the shadow of the San Lorenzo Stadium. The riders vying for time to be subtracted from their total in the Enduro GP standings at the end of Saturday's race, ranging from a single second for 9th position